All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So, just to let you know how that audit stuff works, most officers, when they ask you for identification, already know who you are. Like if it's a traffic stop, here you go. Most scenarios where there's an auditor, they already know who the auditor is, or any traffic stop before they walk up to your car. A lot of times, they already know who you are. Doesn't mean they're targeting you, but yeah, they could be targeting you. So it doesn't really pay you back, pay not to give your identification. Because if here's an example, you actually get investigated. In other words, the auditor says, "Well, I'm not going to do your work." Well, fine, they'll do their work. Again, that's what officers should say. You want to do my work? Okay, I'll do my work. Bye. Because at that point, you have reasonable suspicion that will lead to possibly probable cause to further investigate. So, an auditor, the actions of the auditor and the sovereign citizen actually creates an investigative scenario. And then that, you know, it's not a good thing. So just every time you walk outside, grab your ID and have it. Now, if you have a warrant, yeah, good try. That's the only person that has anything to gain by not providing ID. That's the only person with a warrant. Right. Everybody else, if you don't provide ID and you get away with it, I'm going to turn it down a little bit for some reason. Go there. If you don't provide your ID and you get away with it, they're probably going to investigate, which means they're not just going to take your identity, they're going to take your identity and they're going to launch a full investigation because they're allowed to, especially if you don't provide ID. Even though it's your lawful right not to, it's just strange. It's suspicious. Well, the act of not providing the ID, I think, allows the officer to demand ID. But again, it's the courts are. I mean, they have a right to, but isn't it weird? Well, because you can articulate. I ask 100 people a month for ID. 98% provide it. That 1% doesn't have an ID. Or more. I mean, sometimes it's like 5%. And in some neighborhoods, maybe nobody. Got pumpkins and skulls over here. What's a 10-10? There's such thing as a 10-1-10? Okay, yes, they hit the mute button by accident. That's not them. What it is actually, it's metaphysics. But I don't know if you heard me. What's a 10-10 or a 10? I don't think there's a 10-1-10. It's a 10-10. But the sign told me I was trespassing. That means they've willed me metaphysically not to be seen as a resident. No, it's still devils. I mean, it's what devils do. All right, 10-16, 10-18, 10-15, and a 10-17. I don't know. I'm going to look it up, see what it is. Might lead to something else. A different license plate. Had a weird. Maybe he was not authorized to have that other plate. I don't know. I don't know what it stood for. So it looked like something government. McConnell and Associates. What's going on, McConnell and Associates? That's the people paving here. That 1010 is pertinent. Speed limit 10 just came up pretty heavy. Heck, I never knew it was 10 miles an hour here. I don't know if I drove any faster than that, but first time I saw the sign. And the scripture it tells us, okay, so you want to go back to Deuteronomy again. Do you want to live Deuteronomy? Do you really want to do that? So again, there's been changes on the planet, and that should be realized. But they want to make it a one-sided thing. Yeah, they cursed Kamala Harris. What's called is a nodding. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. Hi, how are you? I don't know if they know what nodding means, but when I read it as a psychic, it's considered a not. They made her like she is. You've heard that before. Somebody is not right. Metaphysically. If somebody is not, then they're pretty much metaphysically dead. I mean, she has a lot of support, so she stays up. So get her back into being. What do you got? Oh, the carts are in line. Everybody's golfing. Oh, let's golf. Let's go golf. It's like Friday. Everybody took off of work. All the yeah, you're supposed to be at work. Get to work. What's called corporate. All of a sudden, 15 people run. Ah! He left early. Elon, they left early. They're golfing. How many of you were on the clock, huh? We used to have that at my workplace. I'm the unemployed workaholic. See, you all shouldn't have messed with the unemployed or the employed workaholic, because now he's the unemployed workaholic and been so for 20 years. Well, got to work at something, right? Now I couldn't even drive an Uber. They had called Uber headquarters and said a bunch of BS, Right. Thank God I would have had to kill Ubers. Had to kill the Uber Corp. That might be a sign that Uber isn't actually falling, like the Uber company. Yeah, they may be stupid and ignorant, but they wouldn't be necessarily falling. Like they may, like, well, we scammed them a couple of times, but they may not be part of it, or they could be part of it. I don't know. Well, usually, if you're like the Jews, I never went to the Jews in Miami because God considered them well enough that He didn't want them to fall. There's no doubt. If I show up somewhere, the people are going to fall. So if you're already fallen and I show up, well, no big loss. Well, obviously the Sikhs have CIA in it. Obviously the Hare Krishnas have CIA and those type of people, right? And they've done corrupt stuff in the past. And then of course it appeared the church I was in, but like I said, at first there was a battle. It appeared, I don't think it was an illusion. Again, there was this battle of good against evil, and evil won in the government, and then I moved on. So like the church I was in appeared to be having that evil versus good, good versus evil. The preacher was evil. Now, don't change. If a cop walks in there and asks you to change your preaching to fit their psychological operation, don't do it. You're not authorized to do it. You're actually commanded not to do it, because you rendered unto Caesar that which was God's. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, every last one of you could be causing a mass murder somewhere. I mean, and then you're in for good, right? Yeah, I'll do it a million times. Just don't tell them what I did. I changed my preaching. We're gonna police officer. Well, they can investigate it somewhere else. That's the theory that Jesus and all of the disciples put out there. But they know that if they don't take over your church, then that person will succeed in your church. If they actually thought I would do something in a church, I would be there like right away. Well, I'm beginning to believe that I'm not hitting it. I believe they may be hacking me. Because through the app. Let me close the app. Maybe if I close the app. Hacked the app the other day, so I'll close the app, see if it'll stay on. I might have to put some masking tape over the thing so I don't. It's a touch screen, but I never had this problem before that I remember. So okay, so where am I at? We said Elon, they're golfing. They took Friday off. Now they're still on the clock and they're golfing here at the golf club here, the dunes of St. Andrew, or the St. Andrew Golf Club, whatever it's called. All right. So, you know what I could do is actually, if I can do it, reverse these. And if I reverse these, I should be able to not have this problem. It's just a bunch of Velcro, really. All right, are we there? Are we there? Yeah, okay. So what came up next? Oh, had a curse in it. So again, like I said, even if they don't physically act out, when they're stalking you, they're wiring to you. And when they wire to you, things like that happen. So again, they're also culpable for the metaphysical. So if you go to a church and somebody psychologically operates you as a member of that church, a preacher, whoever it is, they will go to hell for it. There's no authority in Christianity to change your preaching to affect somebody in the pew. They know what they're doing. It's not, you're not exempt just because they said investigation, because Jesus never authorized it. In fact, he told you, do not render God's things to Caesar. Believe me, they can investigate it somewhere else. You're to keep the church whole. You're not to use it for law enforcement purpose. That's why you have people coming in your church trying to kill you, because you're working for Satan at that point. The widespread use of psychological operation did not benefit law enforcement, and in fact, is the reason for the mass criminal increases that we see. When Trump's in, like I told you, he's part of that thing. So then it increases, and then crime and violence increase. Now, actually, Trump's part of the worst part of law enforcement. He really is. Corrupt law enforcement. He has people protecting him everywhere, including the FBI. But the talking point is why? Why? Because he's not absolutely in control of the FBI. If he were in control of the FBI, he would say everything's working great in the FBI, because all of his enemies would be harassed. Yeah, the screen's pretty dull. Yeah, it's working because my arm is over here. I also closed the app, so see, that's the problem. It takes time, and I don't always feel like investigating things like that, but that's how it works. You have to like split that up. You have to like calculate, like you only change one thing, and that's it. I changed two things, so there's no way to say which one it is. They're good for that. One of their spells is that you will change multiple things, and then they'll say, whatever it is that they want it to be. Or one of the multiple things, should I say. I'm going to go this way. Guys walking his dog. I don't feel like interrupting him, even though the dog's supposed to be on leash. Men are the worst offenders for that. Dog off leash. There are some Karens that are dog off leash. Now, there is a psychological operation to make somebody look like a Karen. So they may have used it on my neighbor, or though she may be doing it just to make me look like it. So again, what they'll do is they'll attack you by a neighbor, and they'll be Karens, essentially attempting to stimulate you into being a Karen. So you have to be careful of that. Because when you're surrounded, it's just like surrounded, like you go to the church and everybody's trying to have sex with you, whether they are or just bait people, generally bait people. So, and then you go somewhere else, shopping at Walmart, then there's a bait woman, and she's touching you with her genitals metaphysically. So eventually, the idea is every place is sexual, right? Therefore, your psychology will change sexual. And they do that also with the back and forth of administrations, like conservative to liberal. One minute it's wrong to be conservative, another minute it's wrong to be liberal, but nobody's wrong unless they say that person is wrong. So there is no wrong and right. There's only, oh, now you're wrong because you're this, now you're wrong because you're that, but it's that person. Getting a little bit warm today. Sun's out full blast. As soon as the sun like disappears a little bit, it like cools immediately. So if they surround you with Karens, you'll pick up, eventually you might pick up the traits of being a Karen. But again, you're not a Karen, you're just reacting to Karens. I've seen it online where these people that are actually Karens, because if you watch, you can't see it because it's psychologically, blocked or metaphysically blocked. You'll watch Karens and what a Karen is and what a Karen does shift with each individual person. Because you'll see a Karen attack somebody, and then the woman or the man lashes back, and oh, you're the Karen. So again, I don't know if my neighbor is affected by somebody or not. I mean, I don't know why she hyper focuses on me. There's plenty of weirdos around here. Right. I mean, she is in a clique with another person, and that person showed the same propensity. I mean, if they actually said, let's get that guy, then that's a criminal conspiracy. Not saying that it is, just letting you know what things are. And that's one of the things they don't like is people knowing what things actually are. No, not a conspiracy theory, a criminal conspiracy. See, that's the rebuff. If they tell you that you're full of conspiracy theory, again, they're not full of conspiracy theory. You are, right? It's again, not that there is actually conspiracy theory and non-conspiracy theory. It's just they will label you conspiracy theory when they don't like you. If they like you, then you could actually engage in a criminal conspiracy and they'd give you a government contract to do it. Q clue. So they like to say, "Oh, you wasted your life. Was it worth it?" It's like, look, that's psychological operation again. No, you're not just being stupid or being angry. You see what you did? You wasted your life. You wasted his life. Every place he went, you failed it, and you spent millions of dollars failing it. Those Sikhs don't come cheap. Those Yogi Bhajan Sikhs do not come cheap. They're all millionaires, unless they're on the payroll, and you just call them up and say, "Hey, do it." And we'll keep you on a payroll another 5 years. Yeah, I'm imagining that was my hand brushing or my arm brushing up against the mute button. Boy, that sun is strong. Who knows? I might move to Sioux City with the other Sodic people. Isn't that strange? What is Sodic doing in Sioux City? But it is Zion up there. I don't know if they know it. Well, like I said, it's a metaphysical thing. So Hashem is this what they call Wonkin Tonka? Right. I think that's how you say it. I haven't mentioned it in a long time. Wonkin Tonka. I think that's what it is. Or is it Wonkin Taka? No, it's Wonkin Tonka. That's Hashem. The great mystery. Hashem is the great mystery, isn't he? That's that's what it came up. I mean, it's not always. Some people say it means something else. They made sure I had time to meet Russell Means, but I couldn't get anywhere. I still haven't gotten to Lakota or anything like that. I mean, I was in Santa Fe. I was able to help them, the Dine and the Navajo and the Apache. But I couldn't get anywhere else. Yeah, they get him to diss me all the time. I tried getting this guy to interpret something, translate something for me, and it's obvious that they had already talked to him. Total smart ass. He lost his spiritual credit quick. You can't work for that thing that you know is wrong just to get in and just to be part of the clique. Well, if you carry yourself spiritually, to be spiritual. Again, the idea that pushes people away from God, and it short circuits the ability to use that walk of life to stay healed. And stay healed is what we want. They'll say, well, criminals, when they're healed, they'll go after your children or they'll go after your wife or steal everything from you. That's a lie. When people are healed, that's when the life returns to normal. You're all withholding the healing, but it's not you're healing to withhold. You're all part of societies that channel God's healing. But see that's exactly what they do when I go to a society to begin with. That's why it never worked. Oh no, you just didn't stick it out like them. I mean, these people are pushover criminals. So again, they're not sticking anything out. They think they worked harder than everyone else to get where they did because that's part of the indoctrination. They try to brainwash people that are like ignorant. And they do. I mean, obviously they sexualize people. Obviously they turn people into mass shooters. They do that by what's called brainwashing. But again, it's also called spycraft, Project Artichoke, so on and so forth. I hope the Republicans learn their lesson. I mean, even if Trump wins, it's not what the Republicans actually want. They're not going to say it. They want to be done with it and move forward. Actually, like senators and congressmen can actually make more money when there's a Democratic Party president, like a Republican one. So the other parties, let's say the opposing party, when they're the president, they can actually make more money based upon fundraising, going out speaking engagements. So let it go, Lindsay. Let Trump go. I mean, they really are money grubbers. Politicians are like Hollywood people, even if they're Republicans. The church has its own Hollywood, its own, national, not national. What are they? Like its own MTV World and all that. No. They go, well, if we had given you something, you'd have been part of it. No, that's why you don't give me something. That won't be part of it. They try to flip everything around. Yeah, it's one of these plates. I guess it's a nothing plate. Oh wait, what's it say? It's got like an eagle on it. Oh, it was a veteran plate, I guess. Maybe you're supposed to have the vet. Maybe you can't afford it. I don't know. Maybe it's a different vehicle. I don't know. Hey, it looks like this McConnell and Associates banner reminds me of Philadelphia Police, the blue and the yellow. Is that everybody use blue? Not everybody doesn't use blue and yellow, do they? Maybe they do. Maybe it's standard. Because the only barriers I remember in life were Philadelphia Police Department that were like these wood ones. So they did the blacktop here. Looks pretty good. We didn't fare too bad on parking. It's pretty nice. People didn't have trouble with parking. All right, okay. There's this vehicle, Chadwell Supply. We know what happened with Chad in 2000, right? So Chadwell Supply sounds like some voting election issue. We don't want Chad to be well. Actually, we do want Chad to be well. Supply. Make sure that was like a voting form, right? Just make sure voting forms are working. It might be a positive, actually, Q, that our voter forms are secured and they're getting out to people. One of the concerns is that they withhold. I mean, it took me quite a few times to actually enter the voter registration process to actually work. But once I said something online, it appeared to work. So we need to make sure there's no hanky panky. I don't know. I don't know if the FBI is real about elections or not, or Homeland. They don't seem to be real about anything really, but maybe they will be. Well, I mean, it's the Russians. I mean, anybody can make money saying it's the Russians, but who's going to actually look at a state and say, "Hey, you got 15 people in your state that's corrupt, and they're withholding voter registration and voter forms from people," or something like that. Well, that's what I'm seeing. That when Harris supporters go to vote, that they're going to have issues with their registration, that type of thing. Like it's already set, and you don't know till you get there. And then, of course, the idea is once that falls apart, then how do you fix it? It's election day, and then a couple days after that, and then boom. So what I'm seeing is that there's going to be restriction of not Republican, Democratic Party voters by Republican people. Again, the one woman that chased after the pickup truck. That guy's infamous for getting MAGA people to speak. The guy from CNN. I don't know his name. Sounds like he's Irish or something like that. Yeah, he's infamous for getting him to say incriminating things. So I didn't listen to it, but that's that woman theoretically that chased down a pickup truck because she believes there were ballots inside, illegal ballots inside the pickup truck. So again, somebody like that will have no problem. Again, in Oklahoma, all I'm telling them is do your due diligence, right? Because somebody can come back later and say, "What the hell is that?" I'll tell people when they're committing a crime or could suffer something. Well, because you can at least launch an investigation later from the federal government into the selection of Trump's Bibles. I mean, there's obvious ways of identifying what happened there. And even if they don't win the criminal case, it's still a screwy contract. Now, it's understood. You can sit there and you can price it with Mardell. Mardell's not happy. Mardell actually owes me. Hobby Lobby family owes me. Right. So it's like a Trump takeover of Oklahoma, right? I was telling you that was going to happen. But look, you price the Bibles. If that's the only Bible like that, then fine. But if the other Bibles are like $40 and that Bible's $80, I don't think you can justify a double price. Now, Trump may give you a better price because you're buying in bulk. But like I'm saying, you have to do something. And it's not nasty to say that you do because that's how government's supposed to run. So because the others propose the question, why is that? So what you have to do is you have to say why it is. Now, if you think you need all that documentation in the Bible, then fine. But you have to put it down on paper and say, we believe that this is our goals are, and this Bible presents this as our goal. And then the pricing. You have to say, well, we price these documents separate. But again, it is what it is. Yes, Oklahoma's not going to investigate Oklahoma for that. Generally, I mean, who knows what can happen in a year or 2 years. But we already know what happened with the parks, the state parks, and the upgrade there. So again, no, that you don't need the egg on the face, so you do what's called due diligence. You put together you put together a package of information that justifies the contract. Well, you can't say you don't know it's Trump. It's not like it doesn't work like that. So you can say these are our requirements. This is the pricing reasoning. Can you actually select Trump's Bible? I don't think the state law allows you to. I'd have to read it, but I based upon how strict they were with the other contract, I don't know. I don't think the state law allows you to just select Trump's Bible. I mean, you could. There is actually a process in government for that. I don't know if I know federal government has it. I don't know if the state has it. Well, if you believe you could actually select a specific vendor if you believe that vendor is the only one that can provide what you're looking for. But you'd have to justify it. I mean, yeah, FBI does it all the time. Marshal Service does it sometimes because they have a specific requirement. It's just like the government has a contractor that provides something that nobody else. All right, here we go again.